I recorded a video on this, but I'm going to do a fresh video because nothing went exactly as planned. So this is a 2014 Volkswagen CC executive. The majority of these Volkswagens around this year are exactly the same. I had to replace the steering angle sensor in it. So in order to get the steering angle sensor out, you have first to unlatch the steering column here, raise it up, pull it out, lock it back in place. You have a T15 screw here. On the steering column itself, you have to turn the steering wheel to the right 90 degrees, pop one of the clips off that hold the airbag in place, turn the steering wheel back to the left, pop that one off, then turn your steering wheel back center, take the key out of the ignition switch, make sure it is dead center, go under the hood, disconnect your battery. You might as well disconnect both positive and negative ends because you're going to have to touch the two together. Having the battery disconnected for any length of time without essentially short-circuiting the PCM, BCM, the mobilizer, it goes on fritz, so it doesn't want to allow you to start it back up because the mobilizer didn't get reset. So it'd probably be easier just to go ahead and touch the two together out there while you're out there. Put either the positive or the negative back onto the battery, that way you only have one to replace when you're done. The center bolt for the steering column or the steering wheel is M12 12 point. I got a set off of Amazon for like $16 and it works very good. It has 4 quarter drives, maybe 6 3/8 drives, and 2 half-inch drives. The half-inch drives are M16 and M18. The others, of course, go down in increments from there. But the center bolt is not super tight. You don't have to have a special tool to be able to take the steering wheel off aside from the socket. Once you take the horn off, you disconnect 2 plugs. One goes to steering wheel controls, the other one goes to the steering angle sensor. You will have to relearn this, and you need a scanner for it. I don't care what anybody says. If you can't read live data, you're not going to be able to do this. Simply because I didn't use one to start with. I put this exactly where it was supposed to be, and it was 360 degrees out. Unless they expect you to put the steering wheel at full lock to the left when putting it on. So there's screws that hold the bottom cover of the steering column on the inside, back behind the horn, or back behind the steering wheel. They're T15. The screws that hold the steering angle sensor in are also T15. The one that's underneath is a T15. So after you've gotten all of those out, then you're going to have to fight with getting all of those plugs off of the steering angle sensor. There was 5 or 6. I think there was 5, but don't quote me on that. I have a video and I'm not going to post it because I was embarrassed at myself. Anyways, after you put it back in, there should be a red tab that is on this side of the steering angle sensor. You pull it off. You put your steering wheel back on. There is 2 lines that go across the shaft of the steering column itself. One is a solid line. The other one is a dotted line. When you put the steering wheel back on, you want the line from the steering wheel to be in line with that solid cut line on the shaft. Put your bolt back in, tighten it down. I used a 3/8 Milwaukee M18 impact with a 6-inch extension and my little socket that I got. ran it down, hammer, 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 and I was done with it. Of course, I had to take it back off again because the one I put in was 360 degrees out. But if you're reading live data and it comes up negative 360 degrees, that means that your steering column or your steering angle sensor has to turn counterclockwise. And if it's only negative 360 degrees, you have to turn it 180 degrees. I know it sounds stupid, but that's what I did with this one. I went one full revolution, and it came up to negative 3 degrees, which is still within its variance. If you're more than that, like 500 degrees, then you have to go one full revolution, 2 full revolutions, and you come back. If it is positive the same amount, you have to go the opposite direction. You want it to be as close to 0 as possible. Once you've gotten the steering angle sensor installed, put all back together, and you start the relearn process. You have to relearn the steering angle sensor. You have to relearn the stops for the steering. You have to relearn the throttle pedal. Maybe a mobilizer, depends on how long it takes you, but man, I forgot that this was over here. Let me give you a reference. So you got one screw here, one screw here, one screw here. You have a plug here, here, and here on the bottom. One plug here, and then one plug here on the top. As I was saying about the red clip, the red clip goes in here and holds this in a position. That's supposed to be at 0 degrees, supposedly. Well, it's not on this one anyways. I ended up having to go one full revolution to come back to 0 degrees based off the steering angle sensor. There's 2 steering angle sensors. There's one here and then one down on the rack and pinion. If the one on the rack and pinion has ever been changed and it wasn't put on properly, then this one's going to be thrown out too. So it may very well be likely that the issue is down there and not up here. If the steering rack and pinion was changed, it normally comes with a new steering angle sensor on it or in it, and it still has to be relearned. If for whatever reason, like I say, it was put in wrong, then that's going to throw it off. Nevertheless, I got it put in, and it works perfectly fine until it is relearned. The steering will be stiff, but it's still able to be driven. It will be slightly off center, which if you're driving it to the dealership to get it relearned, then that would be fine. But I like to be able to save money, so I bought myself a scanner and did it myself. Of course, this is a customer's car and not mine, but I bought this scanner 4 years ago. Anywho, if you're not following me, you should be. Give me a like and follow. Thanks.